Director of Player Personnel for the National Team Development Program, Jeremiah Crowe. You wonder where all these players come from that represent the United States. Jeremiah is front and center in evaluating the talent, recommending the talent, and eventually getting them here. And Jeremiah, I'm sure you get some kind of a travel allowance. You probably put a lot of miles in the car and a few frequent flyer miles. What's your schedule like typically over the course of a month in terms of player evaluation?
Oh, yeah, it's certainly a significant amount of travel, and it varies in terms of where you're going to based on where the players are. And from a year-to-year basis, different age groups might have different players in different regions of the United States. But typically we're out at tournaments and games. We have a national scouting staff that's strategically located and helps us cover the entire country. So it's a good process. It comes with travel, but it's part of the business.
What is your staff doing now? The teams that are picked, it's early in the year. Are you identifying players for next year, maybe 2, maybe 3 years down the road? How does that work?
Yep, we start watching guys 2 years out from their evaluation camps here, which happen annually in March. And our guys are out right now watching the 2001 birth year and watching those players get acclimated to the level, because as you know, the players step up one level to the next year after year in youth hockey in the U.S. And they're out starting the evaluation process right away, right at the start of the year.
Simple question I get from parents and coaches. Does the National Team Development Program have an open tryout? You see this in youth hockey quite a bit, in travel hockey, where they just open the doors and teams will bring in anybody for a tryout. I'm not sure that happens with the National Team Development Program. So how does it work?
Right. Our evaluation camp, like I just mentioned, that happens annually in March, is a culmination of a 2-year process of our entire scouting staff getting evaluations on every player in the respective birth year. And the tryout camp itself is not open. It is a by-invite only camp. And it is the last step in the process to us selecting the 22 guys who are going to make up the under-17 team.
In my hockey career as a broadcaster, I've dealt with scouts for years. And when you talk to scouts, they'll say, well, this birth year had a lot of scores. And this birth year had a lot of good defensive players. And this birth year, maybe not have been so good. Another birth year might have been outstanding. When you look at the 2000 birth year, this team that we're seeing right here, the U-17s, what's your opinion?
I think it's a deep pool of talent throughout the entire United States. If you watch these under-17s start getting acclimated to the USHL level and playing against older competition, you can see their skill set show through, and that'll continue to be more and more prevalent as the season gets old. But I think this is a very good group of guys that can not only play hockey, but they have a good combination of hockey sense, size, and different sets of skills.
It's a good thing that you say, because we've interviewed Danton Cole, the head coach, and he really lauds his team's collective hockey IQ, their skill, and their maturity. And perhaps you saw some of that before they got here. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You can see it in this group right from the start, and things evolve in the time that we're watching them play. But a lot of the guys here went through accelerations in their game, and they developed in the 2-year process when we were watching them, and you certainly saw that.
Jeremiah, another question I get from fans, or comment I get from fans, is, okay, these guys are 16 and 17. In the case of Trevor Janicki, he's not going to be 16 till Christmas Day. He's a Christmas baby. What's the advantage of having these teams, our team, play up against older, more physically stronger, mature players like you see in the USHL? What's the rationale there?
Well, the idea is to expedite the development of the most elite players in the United States in their age groups. And the advantage is that a lot of the guys they're playing are a lot more experienced. There's less time and space on the ice. They're forced to process the game a lot quicker. They have to get stronger throughout their time here if they expect to compete in puck battles and things of that nature. And like I said, as the season goes on, you're going to see them improve in those categories. And that's the idea, and the ultimate goal is to expedite their development.
And the interesting thing, when you talk about hastening the development, when they get back in international tournaments to play against players in their own age, they're usually a little bit more advanced because they have been playing up in class in terms of older players, stronger players, and that nature.
Right, absolutely.
So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. The floor is yours. The microphone is yours. If a young player out there, maybe the parents are out there, what's your typical recruiting pitch when you want to bring players in? This program is not for everybody, is it?
No, absolutely not. And that's why I wouldn't call what we do a recruiting pitch. It's more of educating families and prospective players and families on all things that the NTDP entails, because it's an incredibly unique place. And as you mentioned, not for everyone. It comes with a lot of struggle, a lot of adversity playing older players. And there's an expectation that the 22 guys who get to put the red, white, and blue on appreciate that and are committed to not only their own development on a daily basis, but the team's development as well.
One last thing, we'll let you go. And I don't know if people understand this or comprehend it. Actually, these boys go through a 10, 11, sometimes 12-hour day between school, practice, on-ice and off-ice work, and everything that the NTDP entails every day.
Right. Yeah, no. These guys have rigorous schedules from sun up to sundown. The academics, the training not only on the ice but off the ice, and then the responsibility to get their schoolwork done and all that. It is time consuming. It's a big load for players of this age, and we do a thorough job vetting them to make sure they can handle it. And we're big promoters in the fact that you don't turn being a pro or that approach to getting better off when you step on the ice. It needs to touch all aspects of your life, and it doesn't stop when they leave the rink.
Jeremiah, we'll let you go. Keep up the great work. We'll bring you back a couple more times over the course of the year. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.